Welcome to my channel. My name is Jay Blaze. To all my current subscribers, welcome back. To all my new viewers, welcome to the family. As you can see in the title, we're talking about how to make an album. In episode 1, it was the intro. Episode 2, we talked about concept. Episode 3, we talked about your home studio setup. Now, episode 4, we're here. We're talking about beat making. So for the sake of this video, we're gonna use my song Hood Love, for example. We're gonna jump into the session and I'm gonna break down how I built the beat from the perspective of me as an artist and also from the perspective of me as a producer and how I was able to merge the two to create a product. All right, let's get into it. So what I'm gonna do first is just play the track. As you listen, just pay attention to the subtle details of the track. It's very simple, but there are things that I included to make an overall difference. All right, so that's the beat. Let's break down what started this song. Going into this song, I knew I wanted something that was memorable, a melody that anybody could follow. It's not too complex. It's kind of groovy, has a nice rhythm to it, and also isn't too dark. Something, very lighthearted, very fun, feel good, airy. The first thing that came to mind was this guitar sound, which is this mute guitar. Here's an example of that. Like immediately when I started playing this melody, I was like, it just made me feel good. It made me feel like I could move, side to side. Like you want to, just vibe. Okay, that felt good to me already. So I said, this is my foundational melody. Oddly enough, the next thing that I added was this sound effect of a crowd. So to me, feel good involves not only feeling good with yourself, but feeling good around folk, around people that you care about. So when I added this crowd, I already had the mindset of, okay, I'm trying to paint a picture musically and sonically. So when you add these people, you feel like it's a crowd of us just here waiting for something to happen, waiting for a good time. Boom, we got the guitar. It's a crowd of us waiting for a good time. To add to the dramatics, we add what I like to call transition effects to set the scene up for our anticipation of what's about to happen. A good sound effect to set up anticipation is a drop or an 808 drop or explosion, which sounds something like this. Very subtle. So, boom, that 808 is like, okay, cool, we're here. We waiting on something. And then I have this swell. So that swell leads us into the next section of the song, because I like to guide my listener through the listening experience. It's not necessary, but for me, I feel like it adds another layer of involvedness for the listener. So I'm guiding my listener into the next section of the song with this swell. It's like, all right, we landed to the next section. The guitar is still going. We got another transition effect coming up. A small explosion. So it's like, okay, cool. We're on another section. It's a journey. I always want to feel like something is happening. Like the beat is growing. Like we're not stagnant. We're not staying on one plane. Just like life, life isn't stagnant. You have ups, you have downs. So I'm trying to paint a picture with the beat, the ups and downs of the beat, the verse, the bridge, the chorus, the this, the that, So we have our intro. Got the crowd of people. We got our transition. Boom. Now I introduce my first new sound, which is this pluck here. Now, this pluck here, I chose to support this guitar melody that I have here. I had to use a sound that was light and airy. Light and airy meaning like something that just doesn't make you feel sad, not too deep, dark, bassy, just something that feels like it's floating, right? It's just nice, it's airy. Some may call it cute sounds, whatever you want to call it. Just easy going, no burden, no dark chords. Okay, so I know we have these as foundations. My guitar is my foundation melody, and then we have this pluck to support that foundational melody. Next section. Now I have a similar pluck. I took some of the lows out, added some reverb. So for this supporting melody, I have two versions of it. The first version of the supporting melody, I put a filter on. So the filter that I put on this supporting melody muffles the initial sound. So let me solo that for you. This is the initial sound without the filter. You hear how bright and plucky it is? I'm gonna put the filter on. You hear how it muffles it? So starting the record, I wanted it more as light as possible. I didn't want to, just go straight into the hi-fi, super plucky sound. I wanted to start soft, muffled, soft, and then raise our way up to giving more clarity and more brightness in the EQ. So I have that filter, it's one knob filter. And then as we get to the next section of the verse, I'll lighten up on that filter and give a little bit more brightness to the same sound, just to show that we're in a different part. So let's add that transition back in. All right. Okay, so that's the intro covered. Coming into that first verse, I added a synth bass because I have it formatted in a way to where the song moves from section to section pretty quickly. So I wanted to make the sections very identifiable. So for the first portion of this verse, I have this synth bass to let you know that's where we're at. So as we come in, boom, you have that first cluck, and then you have this synth bass. So you know, okay, this is the first part of the first verse. Boom. Then, second part of the verse, the 808s come in. So, boom, that identifies the first part of the verse and the second part of the verse. So, boom, we got that covered. Let's jump into drums. So, like I said, for this track, I wanted just a feel-good, light, airy beat. So, the sounds that I choose for my drums have to match that. First thing I brought out was the clap. So let me put the guitar back in and let me put the plucks back in also. So I brought the claps in. As you can see, I have a clap 1 and clap 2. Because this is the sort of beat that it is, I knew I wanted to use very light, crisp, hi-fi claps. I didn't want anything too heavy, too dark, too trappy. So this is what the first clap I chose was. It's very bitey. It has a very fast bite to it. Very crisp. And to couple that, I added this second clap, doing the same pattern. It's light, it's bitey, it's crispy, but it has a little bit more low end than that first clap. So coupled together, this is what it sounds like. And then also I added this rise clap. Sounds like such. It just helps you along. It lets you know, okay, boom, that's a section of the verse done. So those are our claps. Of course, we want continuity throughout the entire beat. So for the hi-hats, of course, we had to go very light, crisp hi-hat. Same for the kick. Very easy, identifiable pattern. All the sounds are punchy, light, crisp, fast attack, quick, continuity across the entire beat because I know the vibe that I'm going for. As an artist, that's the type of song that I was looking for. So the sounds have to match that. I want a feel-good song, I have to use feel-good sounds. If you want a heavy trap beat, you gotta use authentic, heavy trap sounds to match the mood of the energy that you're going for. So that's what I did here. So to identify the sections, we have the intro, right? We have the verse, first part of the verse, with that synth bass. And then we also have the 808s coming, boom, right there. With the kick. Chorus. Now for the chorus, we introduce new song. For the chorus, we introduce new sounds, excuse me. We introduced the grand piano, the electric piano, and this 1970s lead here. And let's talk about how the kick and the 808 are coupling each other. We have the kick and the 808 pretty much hitting on the same beats. They're not fighting with each other, they're not conflicting with each other, they just hitting together. And then you still got that guitar carrying that melody. Right? Transition effect, leading us into the chorus again. And then for the chorus, we know we got that electric piano, and we know we got that Yamaha grand piano. Those are our chorus sounds. So we know when we hear those sounds, boom, we're in the chorus. And we're being led into the chorus by that. Boom. So we feeling good now. We done been in the song for about 2 verses. Let's go to the end of the song. I want to talk about something that I did there also. So because this is a journey, at the end of the song, I wanted it to be the highest point of energy, the highest peak of energy. So for the end of the song, I raised the volume on my 808s. So throughout the entire song, my 808s has been at negative 2.1. At this high point in the song, I rose my 808 to negative 1.4 dBs because I wanted that to be the highest point of energy. However, I do realize that the more that I raise the volume, the less headroom that I have, the less sonic space that I have. So to make room for this 808 increasing the volume, I cut out this 1970s lead, the piano, the pluck, the EP, the guitar, just all these extra sounds to introduce the fact that I just rose the volume on this 808. So let's listen to it in context. You'll hear the rise in volume. So it introduces the rise in volume so that you're not too thrown off, you're not too startled. Then after I introduce it to you, I can bring back everything else. Boom. See, we brought back the other sounds again. Cause now you're used to that rise in volume. But now I just dropped the drum sample in, so I gotta bring it back down to make room for the drum sample, volume wise. Gotta make room for everything. It's only so much space sonically that you have to work with, so you have to make room for everything. So that's a good segue into how I made room for certain sounds in this beat. All right, let's do it. Okay, so even though this isn't gonna be too technical of a episode as it pertains to just making beats, but I wanna talk about just creating room in your beats. So a good example of creating room would be using this mute guitar here. This is what the guitar sounds like by itself with nothing on it. This is what this guitar sounds like with nothing. Okay, so conceptually, in my mind, this guitar needed to sound a little bit more stereo. To me, it sounds like we're in a box. So in order to provide more of a stereo sound, by stereo, I mean like just wider sounding. Like what would you sound like if we were in a giant hall or something, That's the type of vibe I wanted for this guitar. So what I did was I added this spreader. This is what it sounds like with the spreader engaged. Like to me, it just sounded like the guitar went from here to here. It got wider, and then I also added this silver reverb. Okay. Now it sounds big and wide to me. It sounds more complex. So I do that to many of my sounds, actually. Spreader, silver verb on this piano. Let's see, what else? Spreader, silver verb on this lead. Spreader, silver verb on this pluck. Spreader, silver verb on this electric piano. So you get the point. That's how I create the illusion of depth and stereo sound. That's how I get that wide sound. That's how I get the effect that everything's just floating in a sonic space and it's not like stagnant. It's not in one small box. Everything sounds like, like it has its own space in the mix for the most part. And also I choose sounds that don't compete with one another. So it's particularly easy to choose sounds that don't compete when you're doing light, airy sounds to begin with, because they don't use up a whole lot of sonic range. So for example, let's play one of the highest points in this song. It's a whole lot of sounds playing right now, but because they're all, light sounds, they live harmoniously. They're not competing. Where you usually find problems with competing frequencies is in the lower range. So because these sounds aren't really like low range, low bass sounds, my 808s was able to live freely in the mix. And the 808 itself is taking up a pretty large majority of a frequency, that low range, but because the sounds are already so light, that's all right. The 808 could have its own little area. It could have the low range frequencies. And because the drums are light also, light and bitey, the 808 is just chilling. You know what I mean? Everything has its space, and there's plenty of space, most importantly, left for a vocal. There's space left for an artist to hop on, to give them space to be creative also and add their own flavor and flair to it, We haven't taken up so much space to where they can't even hear themselves on the track anymore. You just want to leave space, introduce different sections through transitions, make sure your sounds match, create with a purpose. If you know you want to create a dark beat, make sure all your sounds represent a dark sound. Maybe you can throw a lighter sound in the beat as an element, but make sure the majority of your sounds are in harmony with one another. You're making a light beat, use lighter sounds. You're making a dark beat, use darker sounds, use authentic sounds to what you're trying to create. So let's listen to the beat in the context of the entire song so that we can get a good idea of how this all turns into a record. All right, so this is Hood Love by myself featuring the incredible Gigi Simone. So let's take a listen to the song in context and see how those elements that I explained in the beat matches with the record in its entirety. All right, let's check it out. Baby, girl, you lost in my love. I know we came up on that hood love, but baby girl, you know this ain't hood love.
Baby, it's a life for me. Me being money to your life for me. Cause it ain't real if we ain't living that life. And so I'ma hold it on, baby, I'm riding and dying, yeah. Like a coupe, yeah, the top back, I'm staying down for you. On the freeway, no red lights, nothing to no. Full speed, oh man, ride it, oh God. I'm just trying to find my way back to your hood love.
So get lost in my love. Baby girl, get lost in my love. You know we came up out that hood love, but baby girl, you know that's not good love. Just get lost in my love. Baby girl, get lost in my love. I know we came up out that hood love, but baby girl, you know that's not good love. You know I be bustin' shots, pulling out them Glocks when it come to you. You know I'm pulling out, baby, when you need me to. I'm a real rough rider, standing right beside her. Baby girl, I ain't saying nothing but the truth. Yeah. Oh baby, how you got me going so crazy, yeah. I know we came up out that hood love, but baby girl, you know that's not good love. I know we came up out that hood love. Hood love. I know we came up out that hood love, but baby girl, you know that's not good love. I know we came up out that hood love, but baby girl, you know that's not good love. So now you see how it translates. All right, so thank you for joining me for episode 4. I hope this was informative, gave you a different perspective as it pertains to making beats, a different way of thinking about things, not too technical, but just a lot of concepts and things to think about as you build a beat, sectioning out your music, adding your transitions, your builds, your drops, making sure you choose sounds that match, support the main melody of the beat as well as the mood of the beat. Choose a melody that match the mood of the beat. Leave space for the artist and can't do no wrong. I'm gonna make this make more sense in episode 5 because we're gonna get into songwriting, which is my favorite part. how does Jay Blaze, the producer, and Jay Blaze, the artist, come together to make a record. And I'm going to give you insight on how you as a producer can set your tracks up for success by presenting them in a way in which the artist can already hear themselves on it. The beat should already tell a story by itself before you put a song on top of it. So we're going to talk about these things in episode 5. Thank you for joining me. Like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you're ready. Jay Blaze signing out. Looking forward to the next one.